Rick Grimes as a character has severely changed since the beginning of The Walking Dead, from starting as Officer Friendly to the Rick Grimes. Before we start this video, it would mean a lot if you could all just like and subscribe. Only 1.3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed. Thank you, and let's carry on with this video. Season 1, we're introduced to Rick Grimes, the police officer who is shot in action with his partner Shane. We know that he was rushed to hospital but was in a coma. This is our first impression of Rick Grimes.
That vase, that's something special. Fess up, you steal it from your Grandma Jean's house? Hope you left her that spoon collection.
While we know that Shane does his best for Rick while the apocalypse begins, Shane has no clue whether his best friend and partner will live after seeing soldiers execute the living and infected right in front of him. Rick's awakening is nothing but a scene from nightmares, waking up in an empty, abandoned hospital with writing on a locked door saying, "Don't open, dead inside." We see Rick as scared and confused, but as an officer, Rick is proven to not show as much fear as he is really feeling. Moving on, as he leaves the hospital he sees the bodies on the floor of what were the living that were executed. He is shocked. His facial expression tells us that he had never seen such horror, even as an officer. Just a few minutes later, Rick has his first encounter with a walker. Scared for his life after dropping the bicycle and falling to the floor, looking at the top half of a body breathing and crawling towards him, he picks up the bike and cycles away as fast as he can. Bye! Comparing this to later seasons, Rick probably would have killed the walker even though he didn't have to. Let's flash forward to episode 2, where Rick is stuck inside the tank. This is Rick's first encounter with Glenn. Glenn goes out of his way to save Rick from a really bad situation, which ultimately ends up with Rick obviously finding his family. After this, we know that he is kind and caring towards his son Carl and his wife Laurie. His compassion towards them is proven to be what drives him. However, in later seasons, such as season 8, we see that Rick's compassion for Carl drives him for revenge in hurting Negan and imprisoning him. In episode 4, walkers attack the camp and Rick is forced to protect his family and friends. And this is the first time that we see he was forced to kill a walker. Scared and nervous, he still did well. After leaving the camp, Rick has more knowledge and love for his family than ever. Season 2. Episode 1 of Season 2 is known to be one of the scariest episodes due to the scene where the horde passed through the highway. This is because of how immediate the danger of the walkers is. Rick and the group have no advantage. They cannot fight them due to there being too many, and they cannot run because the RV is broken and the highway is blocked. However, Rick takes innovation and hides most of them under the cars so the walkers won't see them, and hopefully walk right past them. Thankfully, this does happen, but Sophia does run away after getting scared by a walker. Sadly, this was the last time we saw Sophia until she was shown to be a walker in Hershel's barn. Episode 2. This is the episode where Rick's dad instincts kick in. After Carl gets shot, Rick is obviously upset and once again scared for the life of his son. In dire need of help, he trusts Otis and takes him to Hershel's farm. However, in later seasons, it's known that he doesn't trust anyone except for the few people that are close to him, and yet he still doesn't trust a few of them. A few episodes later, Carl has returned back to health, and Hershel agrees to let them stay on the farm to live together. But most importantly, he doesn't allow guns. Most of the group doesn't like this, but Rick has to go with it to keep his family safe. This shows that Rick has the thought of the safety of his family in his mind. Skipping forward to the death of Shane. This isn't Rick's first murder because he does shoot Dave in the head in the bar after they want to find out where he lives. However, this is the first major change to Rick Grimes.
Here, we're gonna lay down our guns. We're gonna walk back to the farm together. Back to Lori. Back to Carl. Put this all behind us. Damn you for making me do this shit! This is you, not me! You did this to us! This was you, not me! Not me!
Season 3. Rick's plan to clear out the prison after the barn was overrun was a great idea. However, it came with many faults. He didn't understand how big and how many walkers were actually inside the prison, and whether people were living in a certain area like they actually found. When he did find the prisoners, we saw a huge change to Rick Grimes. He seemed way more cold-blooded and began to do anything for the protection for his friends and family. He mercilessly killed one of the prisoners after he attempted to get Rick bitten.
Easy now.
A couple episodes later, we have one of the biggest events to happen to Rick, further changing him. The death of Laurie and the birth of Judith. This breaks him. He goes crazy. This brings us into the phone call storyline. If you didn't know already or forgot what happened, after Laurie died, Rick fights to go deep into the prison to find Laurie's body. He comes across a ringing phone. He starts talking with the people on the other line and finds out it's another survivor group. However, after some time, we come to find out that Rick was hallucinating the phone calls, and it was Laurie speaking to him on the other side, and that he just had to move on to stop the hallucinations of the phone calls, and to stop seeing her around the prison. After this, we see Michonne and Rick's first interaction. Her bringing the baby formula to the prison after Glenn and Maggie were captured and tortured.
Did you pray today? Did you pray today? Because
No,
if you didn't, I'ma have to dig you down on some gangster shit.
He lets her in, but only after she passed out from being shot in the leg by Merle and about to be eaten by 2 walkers. Rick then goes out to save Glenn and Maggie, which ends up being a success. However, when he returns to the prison, Sasha and Tyrese beg him to let them in and stay. This doesn't go their way. Rick sees Laurie standing above him in the prison, and he begins to shout at her. He tells her to leave, but you can see in Rick's face, he is crazy. This scares Sasha and Tyrese and forcing them to leave. Skipping forward, we see Rick going into a town and finding it all booby-trapped. We eventually find out this is Morgan. He has gone full blown out crazy and is even worse than Rick.
Every day at dawn, you said that you would turn on your radio every day at dawn, and you were not there!
This could be a sign of how Rick could have ended up if he didn't let go of Laurie, like Morgan didn't let go of the death of his wife and son. After collecting the guns he went out to get off Morgan. We can skip forward to the attack of the prison. We see Rick still will do anything to protect the people. They successfully fight off the people of Woodbury and force them to flee. However, after this, Rick takes in any remaining survivors who are willing to join the prison and fight against the governor. This shows Rick's change again. He's willing to help people in need, but he's fighting anyone to keep his family and friends safe. And that's the end of the video. If you liked it, make sure you like and subscribe for the remaining seasons of Rick's change throughout the show. Thank you all for watching. Bye for now.